there's an interesting progression that you sort of see in religions over time too. I mean, the original Jewish concept of, I mean, there's not heaven and hell in many
Right.
ways in the traditional sense. There was Sheol, there was an afterlife, but it was not a damnation or an exaltation, any sort of celestial existence. I mean, there was an afterlife,
Mhm.
but it was not really defined, and it wasn't like it was clouds and sunshine and streets paved with gold. And then you get to the Christian version, and it is much more that.
Right.
As much as I don't like that idea, it was that you'll live in eternal bliss in this wonderful place all the time if you can
Right.
get it, and there was the damnation, whatever. And then the Mormon view, which I don't intend in any way by showing this train of thoughts to show as more enlightened, but is an interesting evolution of the idea, because there, rather than just spending your time praising some god and following
Right.
him and taking care of him, you've taken out much of the damnation aspect. When you get damned, you go to one of the lower kingdoms, which means you get to sort of serve the other gods, but you're not really damned and you're not tortured and punished.
Right.
And you get to be exalted and be a god yourself and have your own world, make your own children, raise them up. But then, the
Something
progression
new.
is ongoing, that it needs
Right.
to get better and better in order to connect with us in a different way as we...
It's almost modeled actually over after capitalism, which was very prevalent at that time. That the book was
But you know,
written.
it's one of those things that, in a sense, it's kind of a double-edged sword when I look at the Mormon concept of the afterlife, because what I appreciate about it, in a sense, is that if you didn't believe or you rejected it, my understanding is there's a particular spot where you can go and you'll be ministered to. And people will be like, okay, well, here, we'll lay it out, and you can see that we're in the afterlife, and
Jesus
here's
is
the
supposed to
facts.
minister to you.
Right, and Jesus himself can minister to you. And in a sense, it's like, well, if I got this question wrong in life, at least it's not, well, straight to the bad place. And I actually appreciate, in a sense, that sort of mercy, because that seems to be like a mercy that a lot of religions don't have. It's if you got it wrong now, it's too late. And so in a sense, I appreciate that. But then it's also that, from my standpoint now, where I look at it, well, you go to this place where, you go to a Bible study class where everybody sits in a semicircle, and Jesus ministers to you, and the first thought when I heard that popped into my head was just like, sounds like hell to me. So
I don't want to leave the capitalist analogy yet, because I've never thought about it that way, and it's kind of stunning to me how much it really is. It's like spiritual currency, and you've got your 1%, your middle class, and your low class on your tiers of your heaven, and it's all about. Because it is, you no longer have this fear of punishment. It's no longer do this or you'll be damned for hell, right? It's like, here's all this stuff that you're supposed to abide by. The people who are a little lazier only abide by whatever, and then they go to the low class place. The people who kind of have the nice families and do the average, maybe drink on occasion, blah blah, middle class. It's like, so it's spiritual currency where it's all about the most zealous person wins.
Well, and
that's the weirdest structure. I've never recognized that way that it works, because you almost wonder how does it work? If there's no fear, if there's no guilt of like being punished when you die, then what's the point? Because that was one of my things when I had all my Mormon friends when I was young. It was never palatable to me, because they were like, oh, well, the worst is that when you die, as your little agnostic way, Jesus will preach to you in this place, and only then, if you say, fuck you, Jesus, and then you'll go to outer darkness. But if you're like, oh, it's Jesus, okay, cool, let me in, then you're in. That's it. That's like all it takes. So, but the point is then it's structured around that family shame, basically, and then the spiritual currency. That's a weird... I'm wondering if that's actually partially why so many people are like leaving the Mormon Church nowadays, because it's just that there's not enough now.
there's not the traditional carrot and the stick.
Exactly.
Where the Catholics supposedly have, more than 1 billion members, and they definitely have the carrot and the stick, though they're sort of
trailing off.
Well, they're trailing off as well. But my curiosity about Mormonism trailing off is that you need that community in order for that process to work. And more and more of that community is like falling by the wayside.
Right.
Because it's not like 10 years ago, the Mormon population here was like 52%, and now it's like 40%.
Yeah.